everyone. Thank you so much for being here with us today. We are going live right now with Tina Molski, Director of Operations for REI's East Coast Distribution Center and PPFF board member. Tina is going to talk to us today about how to get started in the outdoors. If you want to go for the first time or for the first time in a long time, what sort of stuff we need to remember before we get out there. I just want to remind everyone today that we are accepting donations and participating in the Extra Give. It's a 24 hours of giving, and it's really important to us as a foundation, and we would just urge anyone, if you are able, to check us out on the extragive.org and donate if you are able. Anyone that donates during this hour is eligible to win some fabulous prizes, including Purple Lizard maps or the very exclusive Parks and Forests Passport, which are flying off the shelves, people. We cannot keep these in stock. So this is a very, very exclusive prize. You definitely want to win. So all you need to do to win is donate here from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and we will pull from those donations, those donors, to win the prize. So enough of that. Let's get chatting. Welcome, Tina.
Thanks, Sarah. I'm so excited to be here. And I would just echo the Extra Give Day, specifically for the Pennsylvania Parks and Forest Foundation. Is such an amazing program. I love being on the board, and I really appreciate what PPFF has been doing for our parks and forests for many years now. Benefit from it myself. I love Shawnee State Park. I love Blue Knob State Park. They're my two favorites. They're also my two closest.
Perfect. Thank you, Tina. Thank you so much. So I thought it'd be great to start by just learning a little bit about you. So can you tell us how and why did you get started or interested in the outdoors?
So, it actually starts at a very young age. I'm a big believer in getting kids outdoors. My dad was military, so I'm an Army brat. My mom was German, and they met over there. So I grew up for a good part of my life in Germany. And in Germany, Volksmarching is a big thing. So every weekend, people get together and they hike trails together. They have what's called Volksmarching tea, so it keeps you warm. It's a little cooler in the wintertime, but I grew up walking. I consider myself from a walking family and have always found that no matter how stressed you get, no matter what's going on, getting outside, getting some fresh air and walking really takes a lot of that stress away. So I grew up really in the outdoors. Girl Scouts was a part of it as well. That's where I learned my love for camping. Then I followed my dad's footsteps in the Army, which is more camping and outdoors. And so I love to travel and I love to see the outdoors wherever I go. So from an early age on, saw the value of our outdoor spaces.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. I think a lot of people can relate to that, being taken outdoors as a child and then falling in love. What about your experience with REI? Can you tell us how you got started with that company?
Yeah, sure. So after I left the military, I worked for a food manufacturer and had a friend of mine actually be employed by REI. And I always thought, that's a company that, hires from within, promotes from within, but found there was a unique opportunity building a distribution center in Bedford, Pennsylvania. So they needed full new staff for it. They needed people to move to Pennsylvania. So I applied and got the job and absolutely loved it. What drew me to REI was really that focus that they have on getting in the outdoors and work-life balance. So just to put it into perspective, when I was hired, I went through a couple different service projects during my first couple of weeks, and that's part of the onboarding process of helping people understand how important the outdoors is for us. I worked on a trail with our CEO right next to her, who put me to shame because she was in amazing shape and I was not. But we had a good time and we improved a trail. And I also worked for a nonprofit where it was a garden that supported the local food banks. So it was just another way for us to get outside and give back to the community. So I really love REI's focus on work-life balance and getting us into the outdoors.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, so you are currently the director of operations for that East Coast Distribution Center in Bedford. Can you tell us sort of what are your duties in that position? What are you responsible for?
So the East Coast Distribution Center manages the replenishment for all the stores on the eastern half of the U.S. So we have about 80 stores that we support right now. We are also responsible for all the online packages that get shipped out to East Coast customers. So right now we're in the middle of one of our sales. It is incredibly busy. However, as daunting as it could seem my job might be, I have an amazing team. I have a number of supervisors that just across 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, make sure that our teams have what they need. They have the tools, they have the balance, they feel supported. It's been a tough year specifically for online sales. And my job is so much easier because I have leaders in this building that just do a fantastic job and care about our employees and care about our customers.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So how about the Pennsylvania Parks and Forest Foundation? How did you get involved with us? How did you find out about the foundation?
So learned about it when we first moved here. REI loves to create partnerships when we move into different areas. And we like to have relationships with our parks. And we learned about PPFF when we moved here and wanted to have a partnership with Shawnee State Park. So that's the closest park to us. And we wanted to provide donations. We wanted to help with projects. And the financial side of it, we learned all flows through PPFF. And what we've really appreciated about how that works is 100% of our donation that we give to Shawnee State Park, even though it's managed through PPFF, goes straight to the project that we wanted to implement at Shawnee State Park. And so almost every year when we do our grant process, we always look to PPFF because when we look at our grants, we're looking for nonprofits, PPFF qualifies, and we're looking for organizations that improve spaces for the local citizens to be able to enjoy the outdoors safely. PPFF meets that as well. Absolutely a great partnership. And what we love even more is when we're looking for a specific project, Marcy has a list of them. I can't say it enough. The work that PPFF does is absolutely exceptional, and the needs of our parks and forests are tremendous. So it's just a great organization to help our parks and forests become that space for places for people to go. I want to add, Sarah, to this year specifically. I go to parks and forests on a regular basis. If there's a little bit of rain in the sky coming down, oftentimes in the past, we're the only ones walking that trail. Not this year. This year, we see a lot more use in those parks, and the infrastructure needs the support to keep up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. The visitation has been astronomically high. So yeah. It's a valuable place now more than ever, it seems. So, and you are on the board of PPFF. What inspired you to join?
So I think it's a natural fit for REI to have somebody on that board. We've got several stores in Pennsylvania, and then we have a distribution center. We only have 3 distribution centers.
Oh, wow.
So as long as PPF will allow me to participate, I am happy to do so. And it's really about supporting that vision, supporting the mission to support the outdoor spaces. And that's what we want to do. One of the things that people should be aware of, but maybe not, is several years ago, we created a new holiday, if you will, for our employees. And we took Black Friday and we made it Opt-Outside Fridays. So not only are we shut down on Thanksgiving, but we are shut down on Black Friday. All of our stores, all of our headquarters, all of our distribution centers. And we really encourage our employees to get outside with their family. Oftentimes in our state parks, PPFF has been a great partner for us in that and getting that message out. And we really appreciate that.
Absolutely. We are encouraging everyone to stay out of the stores and get outdoors on Black Friday. Absolutely. Wonderful, Tina. So I understand you put together a little presentation for us.
I did.
And I just want to remind our viewers that if you have any questions at any time, feel free to leave them in the comments and we'll answer them as we go. So let me just pop up your presentation here and I'll let you take it away.
All right, so I just want to talk a little bit about getting started in the outdoors. Being out in the parks this year, I've seen some people who have obviously been out for year after year after year, loving the outdoors. But we've also seen people who've been out for the first time and they have questions, aren't sure on trail etiquette, what they should have brought. So I thought I would cover some of those topics at a high level. And there we go. So enjoying the outdoors means being prepared. So before you go anywhere, you want to do your research. And some of it is obviously you want to know where you're going so that you can show up to the right spot. But if you think about it, weather is really important. How do you dress? You want to be comfortable. You want to have a great outdoor experience. Do you need a rain jacket? Do you need heavier clothing? Is it shorts and t-shirt weather? So you definitely want to know what to expect if you're going to hit the trails. Terrain is another one, and that's really around, is it a trail you can hike in sandals, or is it something where you want a heavier boot on the terrain for the terrain? And then finally, as you do your research, think about accessibility. It can be as simple as, can I get my car back in there because the roads may be a little bit rougher, to if you're going to kayak and you want an accessible kayak space to get in there. There are some great parks that have the ability to allow people with any ability to get their kayak into and out of the water. So accessibility is another factor to look at and do your research. Then I would look at what you want to bring with you. Think about how long you're going to be out on the trail or out on the water. Are you going to need something to eat? If you get lost, it's always nice to have extra food and water in case it takes you a little bit longer to get back to your vehicle. Always consider bringing layers. It may be beautiful and sunny, and it may be a forecast of a gorgeous day, and then the rain hits. So it's always nice to have layers with you. Myself, I have gotten overly ambitious where I thought I could do the hike in a wintertime, especially when it gets dark earlier and it starts to get dark before I make it back. So I always like to carry a flashlight. First aid kits are always great if you get a bug bite, a bee sting, if you stumble and you need a Band-Aid and you need to clean something up. So it's always great to have a first aid kit. A map or a GPS, a lot of folks have information on their phones, is a great thing to have with you so you don't get lost. And then finally, and not everybody thinks of it, but it's great to have a trash bag with you. When you're walking the trail, oftentimes something may have dropped inadvertently or somebody just left their trash there on purpose. But it's always great when we pick up after ourselves. And if you see somebody that had left something behind, you have a trash bag to pick that up. Trail etiquette is something that I think is learned over time. And I remember when I first started hiking, I had lived out in Colorado for a while and didn't know this, but had some good friends who helped me understand who has the right of way and how to share a trail. Most people on the trails are going to be hikers, but yet you'll see on some single track or even on some rail trails, you'll see people on bikes. And on the multi-use trails, you'll see people riding horses. The horseshoe is on the side because at the end of the day, you always want to give the horses the right of way. You can spook them. It could become a bad and unsafe situation for anyone. So if it's possible, with the least amount of damage, step off of the trail to let people on horses pass. Everything I see says that bikers should yield to hikers. However, I find from a courtesy standpoint, it's easier for me to step off the trail to let somebody on a bike by. The biggest piece on that is always communication, and it can be verbal or nonverbal communication, eye contact, to let each other know who's going to step off and who's going to let the other folks pass. Elevation impact is something I vividly remember learning when I was in Colorado. And we always want to yield to the folks huffing and puffing and hiking uphill. They have momentum going. It is easier for somebody to stop if they're going downhill, step to the side, and allow somebody hiking up a hill to keep their momentum going. That being said, communication is still part of the expectation. Oftentimes, if I'm hiking uphill and I've been hiking uphill for a while and I'm ready for a little bit of break, I can use somebody hiking downhill as my excuse to step off to the side, take a drink of water, and take a break. So that communication is really important. I want to add something that's probably not normal and hopefully will go away in the next few months, but COVID has been with us for a while. And that does require additional etiquette as you are on the trails. What I've seen is some people wear masks on the trails. Some people have masks with them and will put them up if they pass somebody. Others will not have masks, but they will step off of the trail. When I think about how we treat each other in a world of COVID, it's really about respecting the other person and not knowing them. Being respectful means keeping the separation in between you. And if you have a mask, putting the mask over your nose and your mouth as you pass each other. On wider trails, it can mean single file. So if there's multiple folks hiking down a trail and it's wide enough for people to go in a single file as you pass each other as well. So moving on to taking care of our parks and forests. Years ago, I had a shirt that said, "Leave only footprints, take only pictures." And I really like how that helps you visualize how to take care of our parks and forests. When you're in the park, don't cut trees down, don't take things that belong there home with you. Stay on the trail when possible. Take lots of pictures. There's so much beauty out in our parks and forests. The one caveat on that, if you see trash or something that obviously doesn't belong there, that's why you bring a trash bag. I think it helps everybody out if we could take that out of the park with us as we go. Respecting wildlife is another one that I think is important to talk about. Oftentimes when you're out in parks and forests, you may see all sorts of different animals. You may see deer, squirrel. You also may see a porcupine or a fox, maybe not as frequently as you would see a deer. But we always want to keep our distance when we see animals. Generally speaking, animals prefer us to be quieter. It's lower stress for them. So we want to manage our noise levels. But if you have any concern that you are in bear country, you do want to make a little bit of noise. The last thing you want to do is accidentally sneak up on a bear. And then finally, I would just say, please don't feed the animals. We want to keep it in a way where animals have a respect for humans. We have a respect for animals, and they don't come to rely or get comfortable with human food. So I just wanted to finish up with a little bit of inspiration. Some of the pictures I've taken this year, the beauty of always having your phone in your pocket. So the three smaller pictures are from Shawnee State Park. So I consider that my park. There's a lovely trail that goes around a lake there. There's also a 7-mile loop that's a little bit longer. It's close by, and the beauty of how we have Pennsylvania set up, most people in the state are not too far from one of our state parks. The bigger picture in the background, that is a view from Blue Knob State Park. So also not far from me, and a beautiful, beautiful park. Another park I visited earlier I think this was last year, is Kinzue Bridge State Park. So it's on the northern part of the state. It's just a different type of park. So there's a nice hike in there, but it also shows you the damage that nature can have on man-made items and objects. So pretty hefty steel bridge that got taken down many years ago. And it's just a great reminder and a beautiful park. If you haven't been up there, I would encourage you to check it out. And then thought I would finish with, if you have not been out in our parks and forests, and you are looking for someone to give you a helping hand and some information, the staff and the rangers at the state parks are fantastic. So this is Dorothy Krupa. These are several years old, but she was At that point in time, our park manager at Shawnee State Park, and she led our first day hikes. So whether it was a cold, snowy day, she blazed the trail for us so we knew where it was, or if it was a warmer and wetter first day hike, she is there to help anybody and any animal cross any moving water to stay on the trail. Our staff in our parks are absolutely fabulous, and I would encourage you to reach out and ask any questions you may have. That being said, this may not be the year to jump on the first day hike. I believe what I'm hearing is first day hikes will be pre-registered folks to keep the number of people on these first day hikes to a manageable and COVID safe level this year. And that is all I have on that presentation, Sarah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tina. Just a quick note, I want to remind folks, if you can't participate in a first day hike or registration limits you, anytime you go to a park or forest, stop at the park office as soon as you get there, and there's staff there that is willing to help you. You can access maps, learn about what's going on in the park that day, and that's available anytime that the park office is open. So awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing all this great information with us. We want to remind folks that today is the Extra Give. So if you are able to give a gift to the Pennsylvania Parks and Forest Foundation, we would love to receive it. Anyone that donates during this hour is eligible to win a prize, some fabulous Purple Lizard maps, as well as a state park and forest passport that you can keep track of all the wonderful parks and forests you visit. Has fun facts in there, and anything you might need to know before you head out to that park for the first time. So thank you all again. Thank you, Tina. I do want to remind folks that next Friday is Opt Outside REI. So like I said, stay out of the stores and get outdoors and enjoy the beauty of Pennsylvania, especially our state parks and forests. Awesome. Thank you so much, Tina.
Yep, thanks for having me.